What does the Torah say about vaping, about smoking cigarettes? Is it permissible? Is it not permissible? What's the story? First, we should just point something out on the bat from the beginning regarding the vaping. So you have to look into, is it even kosher? Because some of the ingredients, they could have glycerin in it. And as a side point, there's a whole discussion of using toothpaste and other items with glycerin, which is a material which isn't kosher. So toothpaste you don't really eat. You might inadvertently come to eat it. It's still in there though, in certain toothpaste, right? When you're smoking, the smoke, it really goes in you. Right? We don't say a brach on it, but it goes in you, that's for sure. More than toothpaste. So you should look into that. There's a kuntres over here called Hishamar Lach V'Shmor Nafshecha Ma'od. It's in Hebrew. It's 32 pages. I'm gonna try to highlight, summarize my favorite points that I went through. Opens up all the way in the beginning by quoting a Rambam in Sefer Nezichin and Hilchos Rotzeach V'Shmiras HaNefesh Perek Yud Aleph Halacha Daled. Rambam writes, "V'chein kol mikshol sheyesh bo sakana nefashos." Anything that has attached to it a danger, a life-threatening danger. Mitzvahs aseh lahasiru is a positive mitzvah to remove it, get rid of it. Uli hishamir imenu, and to guard yourself from it. V'lihizayer bedavar yafa yaf, and to be very, very careful with it. Shnemar, as the pasuk states, Hishamir l'cha v'shmor nafshecha, etc. That's what the Rambam says. It's a few haskamas, which means statements where the rabbis gave their letter of approval. In the beginning, Rav Shmuel Vosner is quoted. He says, "Barur lehalacha." It's clear that the halacha is the iser gomer lahaskil beishon b'mei habachrus. It's a complete prohibition to begin smoking. It's referring to smoking cigarettes, completely prohibited. The gil sire at a young age to start is completely prohibited, that's for sure. Elahirim amorim, parents and teachers, mechanchin, educators, mutal choiv gomer al pi Torah lemona mizeh. It's placed on them the obligation to refrain them from this. Anyone who already accustomed himself to this bad custom, should remove it. Terrible to smoke in public areas. It's for Shmuel Vosner. The end of his personal intro says it's a person damages himself, but he also damages others as well. It disturbs other people as well. They don't like the smell. This is a physical damage as well as a spiritual damage. And a person can never know how many people he affected. When it comes to sins regarding interpersonal relationships between man and man, bein adam lechavero, as we call them. So the halach is you can't get atoned for that unless you appease your friend. Problem is you don't always know who you affected because it's so many people that you affected that the smoker affected. How could you fix this? It says in Choshen Mishpah Siman Shin Samach Vav Sif Beis. Someone who damages a lot of people and he doesn't know who he damaged. He should be involved with Tikkun Sarchi Rabim, communal work, that a lot of people will benefit from his actions. That will be way of fixing the sin, so to say. So therefore, someone who accustomed himself with smoking and now said, I'm going to stop smoking, you should do something that will fix and help a lot of people. AKA, you should publicize how bad it is to smoke. Teach others. Mishmartim ha'ol l'nafsho seichem, the pasuk says, you shall guard your soul. Pasuk in Dvarim, Perik Daled, Pasuk Tezvav, the Rambam writes in Hilchos Chovel Mazik, Perikei Halacha Aleph, Asr lo Adam lachbol bein ba'atzmo bein l'chavero. It's prohibited for a person to damage himself or other people. The Maggid Mishnah comments that this is a Mishnah, it's a Gemara in Perik Chovel and Daf Sadi, as well as Sadi Aleph. Not allowed to damage yourself. The Chofetz Chaim, in his Kuntris Lakuti Amarim Perik Gimel, says that he spoke with people who were weaker regarding the smoking business, and he said they recognized that the smoking is bad for them. But because they were already accustomed with it, it's very difficult to part from it. So said the Chafetz Chaim, who allowed them to do it in the first place, and to accustom themselves with it. This was already in the time of the Chafetz Chaim, around 100 years ago. Times already changed. They already saw that it wasn't healthy anymore. Then he continues as well, elaborates more into this. If this was said, if this is what the Chafetz Chaim said during his time, a time when they didn't really know about this so much, how bad it was, what could we say ourselves nowadays? Now we know how bad it is. It could slash easily around 15% of a person's life. You don't need me to provide you all the stats. You could Google that, do that on your own, how bad it is. So they ask a question. Say there have been a lot of great people smoked in the past, great rabbis, great scholars. What about the Safek Pikuach Nefesh L'chumrah? If you have a doubt on if something is dangerous or not, you should be stringent. The answer is they didn't know how bad it was back then. Maybe the air was different. Something was different about it. Nowadays, that wouldn't apply. Why is it that to desecrate Shabbos, we allow that to save someone? To eat on Yom Kippur, it's permissible to save someone's life. We rely on doctors. A doctor says you're allowed to eat on Yom Kippur, you could eat. So then why don't we listen to the doctors when it comes to smoking? That's basically the first chapter, so to say, that he says. That's the idea over here. There's a major problem that he goes into of kivud aveim. It's not respecting your parents. Your parents don't want you to smoke. If your parents aren't allowing you to smoke and you're not listening to them, you're adding on the sin. And we know that honoring your parents is like honoring Hashem. If your Rebbe's against the smoking, you have to refrain from it. So if you're not listening, you're nullifying, you're canceling the mitzvah of honoring what your rabbi says. And we know that it says in the fourth parak Avos, Moir Rabbecha K'mar Shemayim, that a person should fear his rabbi like he fears heaven, fears Hashem. Because the rabbi teaches a person how to learn Torah and fear Hashem. Regarding honoring your parents and your rabbi, it's already discussed in the Torah Shulchan Aruch and Siman Reish Mem. Also for your parents, for your rabbis, Reish Mem Beis. The Sefer Beis Lachem Yehuda and Siman Reish Mem Siftes Vav quotes the Sefer Hasidim, who says, if a child knows that his parents don't want him to do this and they're going to be in pain, if a child knows that his parents are going to be in pain, al shuhu mis'ana, lo yis'ana b'tayna shina shel chayva. If the parents are going to be in pain that he's fasting non-obligatory fasts, he shouldn't fast. So even though what he's doing is a midas chasidus, it's something which is a nice idea to do. If his parents don't want him, he shouldn't do it. Kal v'chomer, this certainly applies to smoking, which is not a mitzvah. On the contrary, the halacha is Av sharach or avo rav shemachal kavoidu kavod machul. Let's say a parent says, "You don't need to honor me. No problem. Listen to him." However, you can't pain him. Even when he says, "You don't need to honor me," that's honor. But you can't pain him. You can't be mochel on that. Can't forgive on that. So you'll say, "Wait a second, but I'll smoke and my parents won't know." Well, mama don't know, don't hurt her. They won't know. They'll never find out. Ani b'shrirusli be'elach. I'll do what I want, but they don't know. I won't smoke in front of them. Man Yemar, who could say that in this situation, ba'oifen kazeh oivra anel mitzvos kivud avein? V'rav says it's not true. This has been tried and tested that even these people who try to do it privately, at the end they won't be able to control themselves anymore. Eventually their parents will find out. Eventually the rabbis will find out. Not gonna work. There's a pasuk in Mishlei Perek Gimel pasuk Daled that says B'kol d'rachecha de'ehu. Gemara at the end of Brachos and Samach Gimel Aleph says Kol ma'asecha yu l'shem shamayim. Everything that you should do, everything that you do should be the sake of for heaven. Even when it comes to eating, drinking, even something that's optional. Paskin in the Shulchan Aruch, it's in Reish Lamed Aleph, this idea as well. If this is what we're talking about when it comes to eating and drinking, which is very difficult for a person to say that they're doing it for the right reasons, it certainly applies to smoking. There's no doctor that will say that smoking helps the body. On the contrary, it damages, as we know. It will take away from serving Hashem. What will a person answer on the day of judgment? Maya nebi yom hadin. They're going to ask him, those thousands of cigarettes that you smoked, what was that for? Was that used for serving Hashem? They're going to ask, was your kavanah l'shem shamayim, was your intention for the sake of heaven, or for ulterior motives? Just to satisfy your temporary desires and lusts? Is it just because you were addicted, because you thought it was cool when you were younger? So I'm talking about the reason why we're on this planet is to break our desires and our lusts and to fix our bad characteristics. To be masaki in our midos ra'os. It says in the fourth paragraph, Pirkei Avos, Ezehu Gibor. Who is the strong person? HaKovish is someone who conquers your inclination. You got to quit and conquer this inclination. Bittelzman. Smoking is a tremendous waste of time. You could have been learning Torah then. You could have been performing other mitzvahs. Many times also, people run out of cigarettes. They have to waste time getting it. It's a waste of time. Sometimes they don't have a fire. You have to waste time getting it. Waste someone else's time. Waste your own time. Waste of time for everyone. Sometimes in the middle, person's in the middle of a cigarette. Well, you can't stop in the middle. Prices are sky high now for the cigarettes. You can't go into the base mattress. You can't go inside. No one lets them in buildings anymore. No one wants that garbage. He says, oh, I gotta wait outside more in order that I won't waste it. In the meantime, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination starts working. He starts getting into a long conversation. Savera Gerar Savera, fourth parakavos, leads to more bittul Torah, leads to more not learning, waste of time. Al tashchis, it's a waste of money. By the way, this is the kuntrus that I'm reading from. Al tashchis, such a waste of money. How much money does the average person spend a month on that? A week on that? What could you have done with that money? You could have gave it to charity, bought svarim. Could have done anything else other than that. It's a waste. Al tashchis, you're wasting your money. Let's say a poor person comes up to you, can't pay him, you don't have any money left, you already wasted it all on your cigarettes. There's something interesting when it comes to smoking. People become very generous, so to say. If someone doesn't have a cigarette, the other person gives them a cigarette very generously. Problem is, it says in Mishlei, Perek Tes Vav Pasuk Chav Zayin Soneh Matanas Yechya. Someone who hates presents will live. You're not supposed to like gifts. The smoker, when he asks for a cigarette from someone else, he's blinded, and he doesn't even feel the embarrassment of this. Chafetz Chaim writes in the Be'er Halacha, beginning of Siman Tuf Kuf Chaf Tes, in the Gemara in Beitza, that a person's parnasa, how much a person will make that year, is determined on Rosh Hashanah. So he says, make sure that your expenses aren't too much. He says this is open rebuke nowadays. There are people who violate this, and they don't pay attention. They don't pay attention how to distance themselves from things that are permissible. Just because a person has the money doesn't mean he should spend it. When you take that cigarette from someone else, maybe he doesn't even want to really give you. Maybe he only has one or two left. He gives it anyways. That could be avak gezel. It's called the dust of stealing. He doesn't really want to give it even though he's giving it. Sometimes he might have more cigarettes, but he's lying. He says, I don't have because he doesn't want to give it, causing him to lie. Reb Chaim Palaji writes in his Savan as well, in Perek Tetzvav. This is in the Sefer Savah. Another reason why you should refrain, he says, is because Shmir Shabbos. What's going to happen when Shabbos comes along? Someone who's addicted, he's going to be in pain on Shabbos. Shabbos was given so that we could rejoice, not so that we become sad, that we'll be in pain. Another problem is that you see that people who are addicted, they smoke as close as they could get, or sometimes even into Shabbos almost. On Motzei Shabbos, they end Shabbos as soon as they could to smoke. People who are addicted, it's a major issue. Some people, even on Shabbos itself, they can't handle it. They're Shomer Shabbos, but they're addicted. They've been caught because you smell it through the walls. privately. They can't hold it back. How terrible is that? Some people completely became irreligious because they started smoking on Shabbos, and then it just led to worse things. Terrible. The Beis Halevi writes in Parshas Vayishlach, pasuk at the end of Kohelet says, "Ki Elokim yavi b'mishpat al kol nelamim tov v'imra." What's this pasuk referring to? Hashem will bring to judgment on everything that's hidden, whether it's good or bad. The Gemara in Chagiga and Daf Hey says, this is talking about someone who kills a louse in front of his friend, then it gets disgusting. Killed a bug in front of someone. In other words, there's a concept of not doing things that are disgusting in front of other people, like spitting. Smoking is gross. No one wants it. Chafetz Chaim says discusses how bad the prohibition of Lashon Hara is, and how it could affect so many people that you can't even appease and ask forgiveness from all of them. You don't know how many people it affected. Same thing with smoking. How many people get affected? We'll end with this idea. Why did the guy first start smoking? The kid. Gaiva. It's haughtiness. It's a young kid. He thought it was cool. He wanted to fit in with the older crowd. He started smoking. It's haughtiness. Brought to my attention. Now, sitting here Motzei Shabbos. It's 12:15 at night. It's past Thursday. I was in a shul where I learn at, and it was brought to my attention that there was a kid. I think he was around 12 years old, and he showed me stuff, and he showed me this vape that he had. 12-year-old kid in yeshiva. Can you imagine? I didn't talk to the rabbi of the shul. This happened Thursday night. I didn't talk to his father. And then he proceeded to video me when I'm holding this vape thing. It was the first time I ever really looked at a vape up close. This is a new thing. I haven't been in high school for almost 20 years. I'm not involved with any of this stuff. I know what smoking is for sure. The vaping thing is a relatively new thing for me personally. I spend most of the time either learning, teaching with my family. I'm not involved with any of this. Show me the thing. And then he showed me a video of another kid who was doing the vape. This is very disturbing to me. I know in the white shul, where I give shiurim every day, they put signs on around years ago. Don't vape around the premises. Not just smoking, but vaping also. So I started doing some more research on this. I remember in the back of my head, I actually got a hold of this. It's a good place to start. I mean, you could Google yourself, what does the Torah say about vaping? You know, vaping and halacha, whatever. I didn't read up on everything, but apparently there are thousands of flavors. Apparently there's nicotine. It's not good for you. It could lead to regular smoking. In and of itself, it seems like it's not good. And a big problem with the vaping thing is that the smoke you smell leaves it everywhere. The way that this vape works is electronic, and kids are doing it in schools, literally right in front of the teachers when they're not looking and they don't even realize they do it in the bathroom quickly. They don't even realize. This thing is not a joke. This thing is dangerous. It's not cool. It shouldn't be done, and it's not healthy. There's no reason to do it. Apparently, it's a big problem now with young kids, teenagers. 12 years old, you gotta be kidding me. Stuff's illegal to buy before the age of 18. I don't know where they got it from. Apparently, it comes in thousands of different flavors. Moshe Sternbach in the Shalos and Chuvas Van Hagos Chele Gimel. Siman Shin and Dalet has a tshuva about this. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like secondhand smoke either. Nishmartim al l'nafsho seichem, as we said. He said he can't make an announcement publicly saying it's prohibited because some people just won't listen. You see that doctors can't even just completely prohibit it. But he says you should tell a smoker, "Shemisachik b'chayev, you're playing with your life." He puts in parentheses, "V'af chayisha b'chlal zeh." Even your life in this world is included in this. You're playing with your life in this world and the next world, just for some pleasure. Disturbs other people, he says, like we already discussed. Shouldn't do it in public. It's even more of an issue. He says he knows of one story. He was a smoker, and he was about to die because of the smoking. He got very sick. Doctor said, you don't have more than a month to live. It's already affected your lungs. It's in you. You don't have more than a month. His last request was, bring 10 people in front of me. They were brought in front of him, and he said, Yodea ani, I know. Shebishamayim yaduni oiso k'ma'avirat moladas. In Shemayim, you're going to consider as if I almost committed suicide, which is a terrible prohibition, which is another discussion of itself. That's suicide. Doesn't just happen overnight. Suicide. If a person's got real issues, depression has to get dealt with. I had a friend who I went to school with 12 years. He was always more of a troublemaker. He went to the Israeli army in a special unit, an advanced unit. He told me about it after. He was religious before. When he came back, he wasn't religious anymore. And I received a phone call from someone that he overdosed and died. Suicide's a real thing. Anyways, this guy, he brought a group over and he said, they're going to judge me as if I committed suicide. He said, but I hope that this that I'm confessing in front of you right now, and I'm saying, I regret what I did in the past. And I'm telling you, don't do what I did. Maybe my words will perhaps be a short way how to fix this. Then at the end, he talks about the glycerin issue as well. The glycerin comes from animals that aren't kosher. Goes into it. It's another issue. Just to end with an idea that we discussed when it came to what does the Torah say about smoking weed? All these things, the drugs, the alcohol, the cigarettes, all these things that people are doing. You could even add to the list TV and movies that's not educational, which most isn't. All it's trying to do, right? Freelander explains the Sifsei Chaim, is you're trying to get out of your current state of mind and go into an imaginary state of mind. A person has to be happy with where he is right now. And if a person is unhappy with his current situations, he's got to change it. He has to change the situations, the actual situations, intrinsically, not using these substances which are temporary changes. He has to make permanent, real changes. Not just go after these items which aren't going to make him truly happy. They're not going to improve himself. This is something that Rabbi Dr. Avram Tversky writes about at length and discusses. If you're interested, you should read up on his works. Anyways, point is everyone should stay safe. Stay away from this stuff.